Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Rakahakodash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and taught me this truth. Peace, blessings, salutations, and mercies to the elect and the one-third remnant out there listening and doing His word with all faith and sincerity, scattered amongst the nations and the folk homes of the earth. To you I say Shalom. Lord willing, this video is edifying. Is going to be sitting around topic of conversation that I had with someone close to me who is in another camp. And pretty much the conversation was about the mark of the beast. And, if taking that mark is the end-all be-all, which is pretty much the synopsis of the conversation. And of course, we know that if you take that mark, you have no chance of being saved, right? Absolutely none. But his standpoint was more so, well, we still have to keep the law, which is true. You have to keep the law to the best of your ability, right? But that the law is what's gonna save you. Okay? The law never saved us. Now, is that to say that something's wrong with the law? Of course not. Does that mean don't keep the law? Of course not. You keep it, as Paul said, to the best of your ability, right? We establish the law, right? Because those, living that way is the only way you can live a righteous, prosperous life, ultimately, right? But in this day and age, we can't keep it. Does that mean don't try? Of course not. But, we're subject to the powers that be, which were set up by Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua. And he set up powers, right, through through Esau Edom and his system, to where we can't keep this law, this wonderful, holy law that was given to us. But we can have faith, though. Right? That's why the scriptures talk about the gift of faith, because not everyone has it. All right? If we were held up to the standard of the law, nobody would be saved. We would be all doomed. Okay? We would cease to be a people in the eyes of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua, thus exterminated by our enemies. Right? But the Lord sent us Yahushua. And through Yahushua, we are saved, right? The deliverer being his name. But what qualifies you? Well, for one, you have to endure these times in which that are creeping upon the earth. And you have to abstain from the great evil of taking that RFID microchip. All right? If you take that chip, I don't care how many fringes, how many fringed shirts you got, or how many Friday and Saturday Sabbaths you keep, if you take that chip, your chances of being saved are zero. Okay? It's going to be plenty of niggas with fringes on in the chipping station. It was plenty of niggas with fringes, right? Called themselves pastors that was out there teaching to go and get that the jump shot. So what does that make them? Does that mean that what they did is, was cool because They wearing the fringes and outwardly they keep the law because of the way they dress and shit. No. Right? This is Revelations 3:10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. So that's what you have to get past that, the hour of temptation. Okay, where the Lord is going to bring a decision to you, right? Through the format of taking a chip, taking that RFID microchip, the digital all, or suffering, or being outright being put to death. Okay, not you have to wear these, take your fringes off, or we're gonna put you to death. That's not how he coming. Okay. So you guys make an idol out of certain parts of the law, right? Because the scriptures just don't say put a border of blue and fringes on the bottom of every garment, but it has 612 other ones that you don't follow. Okay? How many times have you said no to holiday pay? Right? You accepting to pay for it is almost like keeping the holiday. Right? You offer work. You ain't got to work because it's Christmas. Why won't you just go to work anyway? Because you can't. We are subject to the powers that be. Okay, that's why the scriptures say our righteousness is as filthy rags. This is Isaiah 64:6. But we are all as an unclean thing, and all of our righteousness are as filthy rags, and we all do fade as a leaf. And our iniquities, like the wind, have taken us away. See? So our iniquities have taken us away from Yahweh Shema Shai. Now, what iniquities? What sins have we committed? Oh, the sins of the law, right? So why would the Lord make it that we didn't keep it back then, and we had our own government, we had our own structures, our own, ways. We were able to keep ourselves without any nations interfering with us and us being subjugated to, other powers. So how the hell are we going to be required to keep the law in this entirety when this world is literally contrary to Yahweh Shema Shai and the laws of Moses? Right? It doesn't make sense. We have to cling on to the hope that Yahweh Shai is going to put the spirit on us to endure that great time of temptation, right? And those times of tribulation, which are going to break down a lot of people in this world, man. Okay? Food storehouses going to be empty, right? Friends fighting against each other, right? This is 2 Ezra 6:23. And the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. So there's going to be a famine. There's going to be a lack of resources. There's going to be sedition and chaos and anarchy. Okay, lawlessness in the streets. There's going to be all type of troubles, all type of tribulations in the earth all at one time. When this thing is implemented, when this thing is put to you, it's going to be desperate times, man. Okay? When this decision is put in front of you to be made, the world as we know it is going to be completely obliterated. Okay? It's not going to be the same. People are going to seek safety and shelter and security in those days. So that's why they're going to take it. Okay? It ain't going to be, oh, you still wearing your fringes and, eat this pork. Nah, man. It's gonna be vegan people with the chip. You know? Right? But that don't, you know, you guys have to, the Lord has to really open up your eyes to this, because in that day when these things are presented to you, it's gonna be hard to say no if you're not mentally prepared already. Right? Whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape and see my salvation and the end of your world. So if you endure all of these things, right, with the faith is how you endure, right? The faith of Yahweh Shai, faith that Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai is with you in these troubling, damning times. That's how you're gonna have the courage and the unction to say no in that day, right? That's how. No other way. This is Galatians 2:16, knowing that a man is not justified by the works of the law, but by the faith of Yahweh Shai. Even we have believed in Yahweh Shai, that we might be justified by the faith of Yahweh Shai, not by the works of the law. For by the works of the law shall no flesh be justified. So nobody has the ability to be justified by the law. Okay? Nobody but Yahweh Shai. That's why he's able to make intercession for us, because he was perfect. He lived a perfect life. Okay? And his life was given for us to be forgiven for our sins. Okay? Does that mean go out and just live a careless life, pop a man's woman, be a homosexual? No. But, that means that the laws that you don't have the ability to keep, Yahweh Shai got you covered, man. Okay? Yahweh Shai is better than Allstate. You definitely are in good hands with Yahweh Shai being at the forefront, man. Okay? He gave his life for us, man. He got us covered. Right? This is Revelations 13:16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hands or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Because you're gonna need, in this coming society, right, the one that's already been perpetuated on us, that we're being conditioned for now, with all these new devices and inventions and all the different fears that they pushing in the earth, for a surveillance society, to where people have to be ID'd, to where everything is more convenient, and your health and your finances are all on one thing, protected by you because they're in you. And this whole shebang about artificial intelligence and robotics, all of these things are going to accumulate, right, and culminate to this device being implanted. Okay? And the choice is going to be suffer or die, suffer and die, or live with this device inside of you. Okay? That's how you'll know if you're a true keeper of the law of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, because the Lord forewarned of this grave sin, man. Okay, he said anybody who takes it is gonna be, missile food. Okay, not if you wearing fringes. Okay. So with that, give all praise and the glory to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, Bashim Rakakwadash, Wa Abba Baba, and DTA DTN.